45 power blast. All right, guys, welcome back to the mountain. It is Operation Pour back again. I got you mounted on my helmet right now, trying to get some first-person footage. But this is essentially how you can get a rechargeable field battery, a field pack, a radio field pack is what we'll call it, and get you pushing some watts as well if you want. So there's going to be two separate sides to this. This is going to be the higher wattage radio, and then simply keeping your regular comm, your regular bail thing charged up as well. So like I said, there's going to be two parts of this. So hopefully you can see that. Let's get into it. So first we got this plastic Walmart ammo can toolbox. It was like $6.99 or something like that. I'm gonna crack it open, and everything in theory should be able to be encased in here except the solar panel. Now this solar panel is a 24 volt 25 watt solar panel. You do not need anything this big. This is the only solar panel that I have currently, but I'm going to show you the setup and how to use it. Really, you could get a small solar panel, like a little 3 by 4 inch, and slap on the side, or even glue it to the top, and it'll do the same thing. You can make this, you can 100% make everything enclosed in here to where you don't even need to break into it, like ever. So I got a waterproof hand mic for the bail thing. I got a antenna, a whip antenna for the bail thing in here. Like I said, typically I would leave this radio in here. Like I said, it will fit. That's kind of what I'm working with now. But I got a whip antenna. It's got a 3.5 decibel gain on it. Bail thing, this is a 5RX, but any bail thing, any kind of handheld radio, cheap Chinese radio will work. Yeah. I got these $1.25 shop towels just to hold it, to keep it from rattling. And it's holding this Lowe's battery. It's a 12 volt battery. It's got 7 amp hours, and for, you know, alarm, security, emergency systems, small electronics. This thing, you can do the math. Wattage, it's like wattage divided by or multiplied by amp hours, something like that. I don't know the equation. Here's the equation for it to calculate your specific radio, but it's a sealed rechargeable battery. So you want deep cycle, you want AGM, and you want sealed. That is the main things to look at. Deep cycle means you can recharge it over and over and over. You don't want to do this with a car battery too many times because it will fail on you. So there we go. It's $35 at Lowe's, by the way. Now, this is kind of how this works. You can solder these pieces together, but I like alligator clips, and I'll show you why in a second. Just make sure these are kind of thin. You probably want thicker ones, just because of amperage and the current, especially when you hook up a higher wattage radio like this QYT. This is a 25 watt radio. So this is the first configuration. This is kind of what I've been testing. This gets DC voltage, which is what these batteries produce. The problem with this is you need DC voltage, and your wall you're plugging in your house, stuff like that, unless you have an inverter, is AC voltage. So I'm not going to get too in depth with it, but that is the biggest challenge that you face trying to do something like this. You need DC current. So this was a car plug-in, like a cigarette lighter plug-in. You know what I'm talking about? A car jack. And then I took it apart. We got a ground. This will go to the ground on the battery. And we got a hot. We got a positive over here, 12 volts. This will go over here. And like I said, you can solder this if you want to the clips, but I like reusing my clips for different things. Hopefully you can see that. I'm trying to bend back so you can. So a hot and a ground. And then this is essentially a battery pack that plugs into your car. So if your regular battery dies, you just plop it in, you slide it in the back of your bail thing, and then you plug it in your car, and then it'll turn on. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna make sure this is not shorting out. Excuse my kids. We're gonna put black on black, black on ground, red on red, hot on red. Same thing here, positive, negative. However you want to say it, it's all the same thing. So this is the setup, alligator clips, make sure these aren't touching. Look at that. Running the straight bail thing right off the sealed battery. I'm trying to short that out while I move it. But this battery is running this bail thing, and this, I mean, this will last, let's say, I think this pushes 8 watts. I think this pushes like 8 watts right here, max. So you can do that equation. Like I said, I'll pop the equation up for you guys. But that, I mean, it's simple. And like I said, to charge this battery, all you do, watch this. I'm done. I want to charge the battery. I take the positive and the negative off. And I get my solar panel. I got an LED light right there to kind of show me, hey, you know, it's charging. And yes, this is a 24 volt solar panel. However, it will charge the battery. And I can leave the LED on there. Don't worry about that. But now the solar panel is taking the sunlight and it's charging the battery. Now I do not have a solar controller, so if you don't have a solar controller, you probably don't want to leave it on here for more than a couple hours. You don't have a way of actually seeing the percentage of the battery, and then it can burn it out, especially running 24 volts. But this should last you, should only take 3-4 hours to charge anyways. I mean, and that is like maxed out with this thing running 24 volts. But just be careful with that. A solar controller will fit. They're really small. Not that big of a deal. So if I want to charge a battery, solar panel, like I said, you can set it on the side of this. You can just glue it on the side and it'll be all encompassed, all in one. So that's configuration 1. I'm gonna go ahead, take this off. And see, no car battery. That's the solar panel working right there on this 12 volt LED. Now, so let's say you want to run something with a bit more juice, right? You don't want just a extended huge battery for your bail thing. Okay, I get it. I get it. I got you. Right. And by the way, when it's in that mode, I'm going to be running this this 8 watt antenna. So now we got a 25 watt QYT. Now, I do not have an antenna that will fit in this box. That will fit in that box with it. Getting an antenna that holds or handles 25 watts is, well, you know, that's kind of hard to do, getting it small like that. It's doable, you can build your own, but I will not be running a coaxial antenna right now. But look, positive, positive, negative, negative. Now you'll notice here, see, it boots up, but look, this takes 13.8 volts. Okay, this takes 13.8 volts and it'll run, but you will not get the full 25 watts. You will not push it if I was to transmit right now. Okay, so I'm going to take this back off and I'll show you what I do to get 13.8 volts. So I'm going to turn that off and move the positive and negative. Now this is essentially what is in a house transformer. You see them on the power poles. It is a bunch of coils on a circuit board, and it converts 12 volt, anything from 5 to 12 volts, into 13.8 volts. Now it only has a 10 amp max draw. So essentially it's a 10 amp fuse, and then it'll blow. So make sure that you are not running anything more than 10 amps, especially when you key down the mic. If you got like a 50 watt radio, this This might hold on, but you need to be careful. So see here, all this stuff for the most part came from Lowe's, Walmart, and Amazon, by the way. I'll try to add some text boxes. All right, here we go. Input, positive, negative. So this will go to the battery. Red on red, positive, black on black, negative. So it's inputting 12 volts. So these are hot right now. And all we're gonna do, ground right here. Now this is outputting 13.8 volts, so don't get zapped. This should, okay, yep, I heard the radio kick on. Oh, see, it shorted out. There we go. Don't do that. Don't do that. It shouldn't hurt it too bad, but just don't do that, all right? I'm going to go ahead and put wire nuts on these as well, just so I can keep that from happening. You got to be careful when you get a lot of wires like this. Now, if you need to, if your radio's pulling too many amps, like I said, you probably need thicker gauge wire, but you can double up. So this green can accompany the red and go here, and this white can accompany the black. It's whatever you want to do, but these thin wires may burn out if you're running a high-powered radio if you key down. Now, I can't key down because I do not have a positive or a high wattage antenna with me, but look, if you can see that. Full charge. We're getting a full 13.8 right here. You're going to output the full 25 watts when you hammer down on this bad boy. Now, like I said, if you run this more high power configuration, this battery and this and the mic and all that will fit in this little ammo can. However, you will have to get you an antenna that'll withstand 25 plus watts. Now, you could probably, like I said, do this in a 50 watt conversion or a 50 watt version with a bigger radio, but you really just got to sit here and hope that these alligator clips and that this little step up will work. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, guys. Like I said, you all want to keep it in the box. You probably want to glue this to the side of the box or next to the battery. And you know, if you want to solder the alligator clips on the battery, it's whatever, but if you wanted, you could really, and if you tried and thought about it, you could really encompass everything. I mean, this is a really small battery. You can put it in there, and I have these to hold it on the side so it wouldn't move. And then we can, even with the QYT, this is a KT8900 Delta, by the way. I mean, we can just shove all that down in there. Like I said, you can fit all this. Look, 25 watt setup right there. I recommend getting a small solar panel, not a big, you don't need a big one. Getting a small solar panel and put it on the side right here. Get a couple alligator clips. Throw back here. Get your step up. Throw in there. Couple wire nuts even, and like I said, normally I just run the Baofeng and use this as a battery, but especially with solar panel capabilities and this rechargeable battery, this deep cycle battery, man, you'll be fine. I mean, you can waterproof this thing. You can have the cables or an antenna wire built into the side. I mean, you can mount this in here to where you never have to open it unless there's a wiring issue. I mean, and this whole thing with the radio and all, and the solar panel, it's probably under 200 to 250. That's probably what it is. So I mean, this will get you talking, especially if you're on a mountain. This is like home base comm setup up in the field or the fob. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts and upgrades. Like I said, what I would probably do, I'd get a smaller solar panel and slap on the side. And then I would also get a better, higher voltage antenna, just because of what I'm trying to push and what I'm trying to do. And also thicker gauge alligator clips. But yep, all in the box. You guys next time on the mountain, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know. Give me some video ideas down below. Let me know. Come on. Peace.